Hi, hello, welcome. It's Pip here from queenpipcards.com. Welcome to your October Blends Club, or Blends class as I should call it now. So for this class you received the Gnome for the Holidays stamp set, which is just so cute. Gnomes are so popular this year, last year, probably next year. I don't think they ever go out of fashion. I remember my grandmother gave me a book filled with stories of gnomes when I was a child, so they've been going around a while. So, so that's the stamp set we're going to use. I created some cards. I told you some colours. I promptly then went and changed the colours. I'm sorry. No, they're generally the same. It's just a couple of changes. So I created these cards I added in the Peace and Joy stamp set here. And then I thought, actually, no, I just want to do it with the gnomes. So if you've got this stamp set and you want to, you can make these sentiments yourself too. But I haven't done that. I'm not going to do it for this video. So this is our first card, okay, that we're going to be talking about. And I said you needed smoky slate, and I said balmy blue, and I said shaded spruce. But actually I've used Seaside Spray, and the reason I've used Seaside Spray is I realised that that's actually the colour that should be in the papers, not this particular paper, so it doesn't matter for this card. So if you've got balmy blue, that's great, but for the other cards that we're doing. So in your pack you will have received this. Now we have different papers, okay, some of you are getting this paper, some are getting this paper, makes no difference. It'll just be, this one's just a little stronger. This is the one I'm going to use. And I've not cut it down because it'll depend, I just want to make sure it fits edge to edge on the cardstock, okay? You'll also receive, so you'll have a bit of paper, bit of this white stuff that we always use for stamping. You'll have a piece of white cardstock cut with a stitch square, some of the gorgeous green foil, okay, and a piece of real red. So the colours that I'm going to use on this one is smoky slate for the tree, shaded spruce for the little bit of greenery, and then I'm going to use Seaside Spray dark, or you could use balmy blue for the light bulbs, okay. Or if you've got this one, actually you might want to use yellow just for the, so I've got Daffodil Delight here, so a light version. So it's up to you. In fact, I might do one with the yellow just to pick up on that. So let's move those out the way, all the other stuff, and we're going to use the house, this little house stamp here, and we're going to use just some sentiments. So for this one, I wanted to use a little Christmas wish, okay, because that's small enough to fit on the front like this here. And actually you could punch that out or cut it out by hand. It's entirely up to you. That's the one I'm going to use for this one. So, and today's class is really talking about how you'd use different colours and how you would get sort of almost scenery elements to look good when you're doing your stamping. So using your trusty memento, do that, and then with the tree at the top of your square, okay, as if it's going above, up and above the square, but it isn't really because we've chopped it off. Just stamp that, and that gets it nicely proportioned into your stamping, into the square. And then on another piece of paper you can use shaded spruce, you can use real red, you could use any of the colours. I'm going to go for real red just to make it a little bit, because I've added the green. I thought on this one it was a bit too red. This used the red foil in the pack, okay, and I've decided this time to use the green foil. I just thought it was a bit too red after all that, so this time I'm going to go for real red. Little Christmas wish, pop that down. There we go. Okay, that's your stamping done. Now for this one, because it's a tree, you'd think you'd do it in brown, but I wanted to show you that you can do it in grey and it looks just as good. Okay, we're going to start off as always with our darker colour, or as generally should I say, not always, because I don't always, but just generally. So just up here with the door and sort of underneath, just marking out where your foliage is going to go really. And like so. I think that's, sometimes it's hard to tell whether it's tree or foliage, but I think we can kind of work it out. And if you make a mistake, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that's about as dark as I want to get those pieces. So now I'm going to go in with my light. And there's nothing really tricky about this, and there's nothing that you haven't seen before in this one, on this card. But it just bears repeating that, you know, you can't really make a mistake when you're doing something that's natural, because trees and flowers and all those kind of things, they're all very individual anyway. So all you're doing is just bringing their individuality to life. Is that a word? Something like that. There's another knot in there. Oops. Oops, I've gone over the top of the light bulb. Not going to worry about that. Just going to darken up. There's a little knot just in there that needs darkening. So see, just because it's grey doesn't mean to say it can't be a tree. Some trees are old and gnarly and they look kind of grey-green. I'm just going to blend this bit in. And then I thought I'd just bring the grey down onto the little stones, little stone path. Like so. And a little bit under the door, just to give it some definition. There we go. Okay, then we'll have, in fact I might go back and do some dark, that's what I did before, just some dark grey for the tops of the light bulbs, because this string doesn't really need to be a focal point, or the tops of the light bulbs, they're generally kind of what they are. They are what they are. Then some nice little light bulbs, and this is just really a fun, these are just fun Christmas cards. You don't want to spend ages on them, you know, because you're going to be sending out maybe quite a few. So okay, and if you wanted to, you can do this a different colour just in here, and the little frames. I did mine in red, but I'm going to do them in grey for this one. Oh, I forgot my red. Yes, we need my red for my door. Right, and then for my real red for my door. And this time I'm just using, this is the dark, I think. Yeah, the dark. Because it's that really bright Christmas red. Just be careful not to do what I've just done and go over a little bit on the yellow. That's fine. There we go. And again, you've already got the weathering here, the darker bits that shows where to put your pen. So just follow that. We'll go with a little grey handle, but I have given you some red rhinestones to just pop on there. And then we're going to go with the shaded spruce. Gorgeous colour, this shaded spruce, love it. So Christmassy. I mean, I know it's spruce, but sometimes even Christmassy greens aren't very Christmassy green, if you know what I mean. Although I think Stampin' Up do a pretty good job with all their colour greens, to be honest. So that's the dark one. Wow. Something's making a lot of noise. I think that's my... Sorry about that. I think that's my boiler's just decided to kick in. Okay. then the lighter one just for the leaves, just so it's got a bit of differentiation between the top and the bottom. There we go. And that's it. Really quick and simple, because I wanted you to have quick and easy Christmas cards that you could still colour in front of the telly. You know, when you're doing your colouring in front of the TV, you want to be able to have something quick to do, or just enjoyable to do while you're watching some television, that's still helping towards your Christmas preparations. So here we go. And you know, okay, it's got fairy lights though around it, but you know, it doesn't have to be for Christmas, this one, if you made it different colours. Now this I'm going to put, this is from Perfectly Ploughed, as you can tell. It's very, very bright. Very, very bright. And I'm just going to leave the end off, because I've left mine just to make sure it gets edge to edge. Now, if you wanted to, you could turn this one round. I've done mine this way, this time round, as it were. Sorry, what am I trying to say? So I've done mine this way, but if you wanted to, you could always turn this one round and do him this way if you wanted to. There's no reason, you know, you could do either way. It's up to you. Okay, so there's this way, or there's this way. Now I'm just going to trim that bit off now that it's in place. And I wanted to give you a little tip about the foil sheets, because all foil, it doesn't matter what foil sheets you're using, sometimes your edges are going to lift. Okay, can you see here, this has just lifted the edge of the green. Can you see that? It's just a little white bit. But if you've got your nice green blend, your shaded spruce one, you can just go along, she says, this end I think probably better, just go along, there we go, and colour that end in, and then it sort of hides that white edge that's there. Just make sure you get everything. So so you will have some of these on your edges. Okay, there's just nothing I could do when you cut metallic. It does go like that sometimes. But I wanted to show you this trick so that if you have any of your own that does this, you know how to fix it. And you can even go like actually over the edge of the foil. It doesn't matter, because I'll hide it. It's not going to show because it's all the same green. Okay, does that make sense? There we go. So now you've got a little bit less white showing. So once that's done, and you can do the dark if you wanted to, if you think it's not working enough, or whichever one you've got isn't dark, you could go over with the darker, but trust me, it will then make it quite dark. So let me show you the difference. See, that's made it a bit darker. So you just have to be careful which one you want to be highlighting. Now remember, we don't put glue on our foil up to the edge because it will run and make lines on the actual foil. So we're going to use the seal. There we go. Very gently. Just get carried away with that. Right, this is going to go on here. Don't worry if you've got finger marks, they'll rub off. Especially if you've got one of these Norwexy cloths. Good Norwexy cloth gets that off. Lovely. Shines it right up. And then this goes flat onto here. So this is all flat for quick and easy postage, and just the sentiment's going to be raised up. You of course could do completely different to that. You can make it as raised up as you want to. This is just my idea. Okay, so then I'm going to use little mini ones on this just for the sentiment. And I've used the classic label punch, which just helps to give it a bit of a nice, neat, finished edge. A little Christmas wish. There we go. Perfect. And that's card number 1 done. So, 2 ways. 1 layout. Oops, a bit over there, Pip. Okay. 1 layout, 2 ways. Okay, 2 colours. So you'll either have this paper or this paper. It's up to you which way round you want to do it. That's card number 1. Staying with the shaded spruce theme, this is card number 2. And this time we're doing it in brown. Just to show you that you can. Okay, and again we have 2 types of paper. We've got this paper or this paper. Okay, both of which suit, both of which will go with it very nicely. So it's just the colours that I had. Now you will have a large piece of you're going to have a large piece of this red foil to go behind here. Okay, you have a large piece. I didn't have enough red foil left, I ran out, so I've cut myself 2 little strips, so I'm just going to strip mine top and bottom. I don't like doing that because I feel like it gives me a bit of a lip here, but for you guys I will do it so that it is there. But I'm going to stamp first. Stop it, Pip, stop getting ahead of yourself. And then you'll have a oh, come on, out the light, there we go. Then you'll have a small sentiment label piece there as well. Okay, so you can glue this one straight down. Let's glue this. And we're going to stamp 2 of our lovely little gnomes and their house. Okay. There we go. And again, I've left this slightly long, not as long as the other one, but slightly long, so you can trim if you wish. Because it just depends. Actually, that's not too bad. It's a little bit long. A little bit long there. It just depends on how the trimmers go when I cut my cardstock to DSP. Okay. So, house. I'm going to try and make this a little bit more of a scene. Okay, so we're going to put some groundwork in. I'm going to put a little path in, just a little bit more of a scene, so it's a little bit more complicated isn't really the word, but it's just a little bit more effort in it, this one. So this one will take a little bit longer. Oh, I've missed my last block off. Doesn't matter. And then we're using this chap with some fantastic moustaches. I'm going to go and I'm going to do him twice. One here. Ta-da! He's so jolly. I like him. And one here. There we go. Like so. And so, even though these are different sizes, you know, it's obvious he can't fit through the fairy door. It's obvious that he's not going to fit through that, right? But he looks like he's part of the scene already, and that's what we're going to build towards, that making them look like they're part of the scene, even if they obviously can't be. And it's just about perspective. He's obviously just standing way much closer to the camera than his house is. So that's all it is. It's just about the perspective between the two. Okay, so is that my light crumb cake? Yeah, dark crumb cake. Again, deeper in with the knots, shadow of the door. That knot up there, don't forget that one this time. A little bit more around here. Very similar to the other one. You could add a little bit of shadow under the leaves if you wish, and maybe just a little bit under the light bulbs. Because this one's taking a little bit longer anyway, I'm just adding a little bit of extra for you. And then we're just going to give him brown boots. Now, if you didn't get, if you didn't have these colours, that's the word I'm looking for. If you don't have these colours at home, then you can give him red boots, give him blue boots. It's entirely up to you. It makes no difference. It's just the colours I'm using because the stamp set's included, and I get to play with lots of colours when we do that. So remember, sweeping motions with this end. If you want to blend, then we're going to come back in again, which we will be doing. We will be blending this, obviously, but this is just laying down the first layer of colour, and then we're going to come back in and blend. Now, once you've blended your tree, as much as you, or as little as you want to, we're going to just bring down this pathway. So straight down here, you know, like we did the seafront, just adding just a little bit more colour to that path. Okay, back in a few darker pieces. Okay, and again just on the inside of the door frame and the window frame, just bring it all together. Okay, now I'm actually going to use the light crumb cake for his hands. You could again go and get the ivory for his face and his hands, but the light crumb cake also works if you're not doing, you know, like a massive amount of skin tone. He has actually got eyes under there, so you do want to, you know, bring those out with a bit of colour. And then the pale shaded spruce straight up for his hat. And his body. And he's got sort of like a jumpsuit on, you know, he's got the famous gnome suit on. Gives him his round belly and the little tops to his booties. Just there we go. He looks so cute. And then we're going to draw all the eye together by putting shaded spruce through into the background. I'm actually going to do the door in the darker shaded spruce this time, just so that you can see what that looks like, along with the leaves down here. So we'll make these ones darker, like so. And yeah, just missed a bit. There we go. And we'll do this one here as well. just add a bit of the dark to it. I didn't add dark to the one I did before, but I just want to add a bit of shading on the actual door to bring your eye back to it, and then go over it with the light one. So this is really what we're talking about when we're talking about composition and colour coordination, and how if you run a colour through an entire scene, it makes the eye happier. So it makes the eye drawn towards the scene more. So in this case we're using shaded spruce, and not only are we using it in our blends, but we're using it in our cardstock and our paper. And so the eye is drawn to it because it's all of the same ilk. Now some of you've got red. Obviously we've got red in this, so I do want to have a little bit of red. So I like my yellow bells. I think we're going to have yellow bells, but I think I might have red lights this time. So red lights, but we're going to keep that yellow going because you don't want to have a red light behind the door. That's a completely different kind of thing. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to have yellow just along here. Bit of a yellow twine and the little yellow tops to the lights, you know, like the gold hangers. And then the light behind the window and on the bell. And if you wanted, you could put a little red line across the bell. I'm not bothered by that. I'm just going to do it like this. And then we're going to have grey, using the light grey, smoky slate, for his moustaches and his beard. I mean, he could be a white gnome. He could have white, but white's quite stark, so sometimes just making it grey makes it a little less stark. Now, we'll just do that. I'm going to finish off with a few extra bits in a minute. Just throwing the colour down at this point. Okay. Because I'm also going to show you a little trick. Again, we did do this a while ago, but I haven't done it because we haven't done people really for a bit, have we? In any of our sessions. So, just going to add something to make our gnomes stand out even more and add to that perspective that actually they're quite a way in front of their home. And that's, we're going to take that grey and we're just going to run it all the way up the edge, all the way around the edge of the bell, all the way down here. And then I'll show you the difference between the two. And it's a subtle difference, but it's definitely there. Okay, can you see the two next to each other there? These ones definitely stand out just a little bit more than these ones, and that's just because we've given them that highlight, and so we've softened them into the white behind, and that actually, whilst we're softening it into the white, it pulls them forward, and so they're just that little fraction more 3D than these ones. Okay, now obviously you're just going to attach your piece of Whisper White directly onto your red foil, but I'm doing this cheating thing because I've only got little bits. I hate doing it, but sometimes it's necessary, like when we haven't got enough. I can't believe I ran out. I thought I'd counted enough, but I hadn't. Sailor bee. So if you do this, you just want to make sure that you have the same distance top and bottom. Like that. It's much harder because you need to make sure it's straight top and bottom, which I'm never good at the best of times. Okay. Okay. Whew. And then I'm going to glue that straight down. Now again, mine's going to have a bit of a dent in it, but there's nothing I can do about that because it's layered. So it'll have a soggy, ooh, whoops, it'll have a soggy middle basically. So we just pop these down here, following the lines on your paper, like so. There we go, lovely. And I'm just going to stamp the sentiment. This time I'm going to use Shaded Spruce, and then I'll pop that up. So it's the Holly Jolly Everything, which looks like it shouldn't fit, but it does. There we go. And then pop that up on dimensionals, add your little red rhinestone, and that's card number 2. So cards number 3 and 4 switches it up completely again. So we've been very Christmassy with our reds and our greens here. Now we're going over to some different colours. And the first one is this one. It's so cute. Oh, I love these colours. So for this one I've used Highland Heather, Smoky Slate, and I did actually use Balmy Blue, but I'm going to use Seaside Spray just so that it matches the cardstock that I've done. Because I think that's just slightly off and it should be Seaside Spray. I don't know why I picked up Balmy Blue, but there you go. Obviously I'd said that and that wasn't what I meant. So, so we're going to get rid of all of our reds and yellows and all that. We're going to keep actually just a little bit of light Shaded Spruce. We need that a little bit for there. And then the 2 Highland Heathers, okay, for the door. And then again the Smoky Slate. And then just adding in this. And if you want to, you can just carry on with your light crumb cake for his face. That's fine. Or you can go to the ivory. It's up to you. Depends on what you've got and what you're working with. So you'll have a Seaside Spray card base. You will have a bigger piece of this. Again, my pack just didn't quite go to you. There was lots of you that joined in this time, so that's the reason why, but that's good. So mine's going to be tiny. Yours is going to be this size, okay, which is the proper size, and I prefer it like this, but I'm going to go with what I've got. And then I have cut you 2 of these, okay, and a separate piece of paper where you're going to fussy cut out this one little chappy. And I know it's fussy cutting, but it doesn't take long, honest. So the first thing you might want to do, just so that you know you've got it sussed and it's okay, is stamp your centre. So I've gone and put Highland Heather down. It's, again, you can go for the black if you wish, but I like the contrast of the Highland Heather with the Seaside Spray. There's no place like Gnome for Christmas. There we go. Excellent. Breathe in, breathe out, stamp. Alright, so that's the stamping for that. The rest of it is all just memento as normal. So we have our jolly little gnome that we're going to stamp on this piece. Okay. There we go, let him dry for a sec. And then we have our house, which we're going to fit on this stitched nested label. So that's what this is from, stitched nested label. Now you'll notice it doesn't fit, okay? There's no point trying to make it fit, it doesn't fit. So just pop it down and accept the fact that you're going to lose a few of your little pebbles from the doorway, whatever it is, path, that's the word I'm looking for, but we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so we can pop our back piece down. You've also got snowflakes for this, because, you know, the snowflakes just set it off so beautifully. There's no reason why we shouldn't use those. So pop that there, like so. There we go. So that's going to fit on there. And as I say, yours will just come over a little bit more, as it should do. I'll just cope with this for the minute. I don't think it's going to look bad. I just think it's going to look not quite as nice, that's all. So, put that there. And I love all the different colours. I mean, there's masses of colours in this paper pack. But I love them all. I think they're great. Okay, so now we're off to colouring again. And this time we're just using a few colours to really make it stand out. So we're going to make the background darker. So have less less of the light smoky grey, a bit more of the smoky slate, not smoky grey, a bit more of the darker smoky slate here in that knot there, because I just want to show you how different you can make something look, again, just because you're just using the same colour but just changing up how much of it you use. So we've used a lot more of the dark there, and then if we don't do as much blending, so we just sort of allow those darker pieces to stay dark, it looks again completely different. Just blend the bits as if you've done them coming downwards here. But otherwise I'm just going with the flow, as they say. There we go. Okay, much darker, but still pretty. So a couple of light green, because you need light really to work with this, with these colours. So a bit of light shaded spruce down here. It's almost like a spearminty, this light shaded spruce. It's lovely. And then light seaside spray for the globes, bulbs, and behind the door. Really light Highland Heather. The light Highland Heather is very pinky. It's almost towards a purple posy version, but it is lovely. Just some really light flecks of that. And then that is your background piece done. Okay, now we're going to do our little gnome himself. I've just kept the light crumb cake just because I don't want you to feel, well, it's up to you whether you want all of the blends. Personally, I have now got all the blends. Yay! I'm very happy about that, as you can tell. But you can use whatever. You don't have to bring them all out at the same time, you know. That's kind of where I'm going. Again, we're going nice, bold, dark grey stripes on his beard. This guy I want to stand out a little bit more. And then lighter grey. Oops. I nearly gave him a grey eye then. That's not so good. There we go. And it's hair, so it doesn't matter if it's a bit streaky, because hair is streaky, especially mine. But you do want to make sure you're not going over onto his trousers. Then we're going to use the darker smoky slate, not smoky slate, seaside spray even, and those bits, and his hat. Just feels snowy when you do blue. And then a little bit of lighter, it's just giving him a little bit of lighter texture there. We'll just lighten this up a little. There you go. Doesn't take much. Do a light band of blue there. Down his trousers, boots, like so. And then, which I might make that a bit darker. Yeah. Go over his boots a couple of times, and then I can just add in a bit more dark there, because we do want him to stand out. So we can add this. A little bit more dark. I mean, just play with it really until you're happy with the results. I like that light sort of hitting his hat there, so just leaving a few bits in the middle not coloured so much is great. Now we're going to do a little silver bell just to finish him off, and then we'll cut him out and assemble him. Okay, once you've cut him out, now it's just a question of assembly. So pop this down with some glue, bang slap in the middle. Now they don't line up exactly, if you notice with these, so these don't go right to the edges. There's like a bigger, they're nested but they're not quite like completely in line on both ends. That's just the way they are. So just accept that and go with that. Now for him, you can either attach him and then put this up on dimensionals, or you can put him up as well. And I'm going to go for both. Go for broke. So we'll have dimensionals. You know me. No soggy middles. Okay. So pop that down. There's no place like Gnome. Straight, I think that's straight, there we go. And then we'll put this one up on minis. You should just be able to fit, depending on how you've cut it, you might be able to fit one on there, or you might have to actually cut a small one, which is ridiculous really, I know, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and you want that bell to not get woofed off. So sometimes you've got to cut yourself half a mini. So I actually cut the edges. Have I got one that I've started? No. I must have. There we go. Yeah, so I cut the edges. So I just want sort of this shape will do. Because you know it's the same thickness. It's just thinner, if you know what I mean. It's just not the same size, shape rather. There we go. And if there's a bit sticking over, like so, I just cut that bit off so you can't see. Just means that his little bobble out isn't bobbling around too badly. There we go. There we go. And that is our cute little gnome, and then just finish with some snowflakes. Okay, so that's card number 3. And finally, to finish, card number 4, we've got our cute little mama. Although I think she's a little bit miffed, to be fair. I'm not sure she's actually that happy, but I don't know, it's kind of a winky grin. Maybe she is happy. There we go. So you have this one or this one, okay? Either of which will look perfect, but again, didn't have enough. So I've got this one. So don't panic, okay? They're all good. And I've cut you out this piece. Basically this, the inside of this was this layer for this one, okay? You've got some of this lovely Splendor ribbon, some more of this, and a smaller one of those, okay? I'm just going to reuse my other piece. So, oh, and a Seaside Spray base, obviously. Need a card base. So here we go, straight down with our DSP, and that is just glued flat to the back, like so. The good thing is that they've all got Seaside Spray and they've all got a little bit of sort of pinky purpley stuff in them, so they all match nicely. This one, I'm just popping that there, but this one's going to be raised. But before we raise it, we have to glue this piece to the back of it, okay? So this is the tricky part. The only tricky part for this one is you need to roughly come to halfway along your piece, okay? And on the back, you're going to just attach the ribbon. Now, it's quite firm ribbon, but if you crease it, it will attach. But I recommend that you crease it and attach it. You can't have any overhang on it, okay? Because it will be seen through. So now I'm coming back the other way. I'm going to overhang it. But then I have to cut that piece off because it will be seen. Okay? It's a little high, isn't it? Is it high? Too high? Is that going to work? Oh, it'll be fine. Yeah, so that's fine. So I need to chop this piece off. Okay, otherwise it will show through. So that's the only pieces you've got there, which means I recommend using dimensionals over the top of it. So pop a dimensional over the ribbon. Oops. Not over that end, just to hold that extra, give it just a bit of extra welly to hold it down. Okay, then we're going all the way up the edges. You could use foam strips for this if you wanted, but I like just plain old dimensionals because they're not quite so high, if that makes sense. The foam strips are quite, they come up quite deep. Whereas these, I just think these are a perfect size. And the little mini ones. Put one down here. I'm going to get carried away again. But you know, it's a frame, isn't it? So it needs to be strong. That'll be okay. And then one down there. So you need to make sure that you've got them. If you want to, you can put top and tail. So if you want to do that, I do this by chopping up my smaller pieces of dimensional. just from the edges, and you can just put one of those just on there, and then that means that you're covered pretty much the whole way round. In fact, I could stick another piece just in there, couldn't I? There we go, now I'm happy. Right, so this is where you have to breathe, just to make sure it goes down at the right place, because once it's down, it's down. You've got dimensionals and it's a thin frame, so don't try and rip it off. Just take your time, get this bit right, and everything else is easy after this. But it just looks such a good look just to have an inset piece. You know, everything normally is outwards. It's just nice to have this going inwards. Now that's my top. So if you get it lined up at one end, it should line up at the other end. That's my little recommendation. And if it's slightly more one way than the other, I can live with that. Okay, now we're going to do our little fancy lady in her lovely little hat. And this is a real Christmas tree hat here, isn't it? It's an amazing hat. Okay. Pop her down straight onto your piece, like so. And we're going to colour her using Highland Heather. Now I've done her in, you've got these, and they are thick whisper white pieces, so just don't think that you're going crazy. These are thicker than normal because I knew she had to go over the ribbon, so these are thick. And I've done the other one, some of the others in thick for you as well, in case you wanted to lift her up, you know, like put her up on dimensionals. Not this one, some of the other ones. This one. This is also a thick one, in case you wanted to lift that three ways. It's up to you. Right, so now we have, this is the light real red, and I'm going to use this for the baubles. Even though it's a red, it's a little pinky red. So we're going to do that for the baubles. And then I'm going to go over it with a different colour, so it's, I'll do that there like that. Then we're going to use the light. Does she look like anyone with her pinky purple hair? Maybe I've been just thinking of myself here a little bit. So you can make these a little pinker just by adding a little purple. Sounds a bit daft, but it does work. Okay. Or you can use the Mellow Mambo, it's up to you, because this is also Mellow Mambo, but I wanted to keep it with the same colours. So the rest of her is Seaside Spray. Seaside Spray for her apron. Again, I did Balmy Blue, but it is officially Seaside Spray. It's up to you though, you can do Balmy Blue if you like. It'll look like that one. And it's pretty close, isn't it? You know, it's not that much of an odds. Okay. That's the dark. And then bring in a little bit of the light. Just lighten the mood a bit. Still going to use crumb cake for her face. I know, sorry, crumb cakey lady. She's alright. She don't mind. Arms, feet. and then Heather, just to be different, and then we can add 2 little touches. And then I would just smush those in a bit with a bit of crumb cake again, just tone them down a little, because it's a little pink. But you know, it works. Or you can use, as I say, you can use your ivory on these too. So that's her going on there, and we're going to attach her with dimensionals, and that will also hold that ribbon in place at the front. So and then we've got one more sentiment to use. Oh, I haven't done I need to do a hat. I mean, a star on top of a hat. That should probably be done, shouldn't it? I'll lift her just a smidgy, so she's up there like that. There we go. And then we need the sentiment. So that was Happy Christmas using Peace and Joy, but as I say, I'm using all of the ones in the set. I am going to stamp it though with Highland Heather this time. And it does look different to this, obviously because of the paper, but again, it still looks good. And this one's going to say, "You're a friend like gnome other," because I like that, and it should just fit in the classic label again. Love this. Love this punch. And also it adds those little sharpy ends, so it sort of coordinates with the sharpy ends of the outline here, and goes with the diagonals nicely of the papers behind it. It's all about how it all fits together. Yeah. And then this one should just sit inside. You could put it on top if you wanted, but I like it inside. There's not really anything for it to attach it with on the outside, so straight in there, like so, like so. And there we have, again, snowflake up. You've got your snowflakes. So you've got your snowflakes and your red rhinestones. Okay, so you'll be doing that. But I think these look good this way or this way. So there you go. That's your Stampin Blends class for October. And hopefully you've enjoyed that. Any questions, please add them to my Crafty Corner group. And if you would like to be in next month, then please let me know. Those of you who are on automatic subscription will automatically go into next month's Blends class. But if you want to join in another one, if this has been your first one, then please let me know and I will pop you in. And next month, I haven't decided what we're going to be doing yet, but it will be something equally scrumptious. I think I'm going to be doing something with leaves, but not the love of leaves. I think we'll be getting, because that's just stamping, so we'll be doing something with either Forever Fern or maybe Beautiful Autumn, which is another beautiful leaf stamp set. And we'll be thinking about things that are maybe not so much Christmas. Because I know it's November, but we've kind of done Christmas now. Everybody I know has pretty much got through their Christmas cards, or is at least on them at this point. So by the time it comes to you at the end of November, you'll probably have finished your Christmas cards. So I thought I would do non-Christmassy. So there you go. But these are your Christmas cards for now. And I'm sure that you've got lots and lots of things that you can make with your gnomes for the holiday that you can use over and over again. So I hope you've liked this class. Thanks ever so much for watching. You take care now. Bye-bye.